First Contact and the Galactic Crisis. The vast expanse of space had never seemed so small to Admiral Sarah Chen as she stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, Earth's first faster-than-light capable vessel. The stars streaked by in brilliant lines of light, a testament to humanity's latest leap in technology. But it wasn't the stars that held her attention. It was the massive, gleaming space station that loomed before them, its architecture so alien and yet so beautiful that it took her breath away. "Admiral," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the station. They're welcoming us to the Galactic Council chambers." Sarah took a deep breath, straightening her uniform. This was it, humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization. The fate of Earth might well rest on what happened in the next few hours. As they docked with the station, Sarah couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. The airlock hissed open, revealing a delegation of beings so diverse that it defied imagination. Tall, willowy creatures with iridescent skin stood next to stocky, four-armed beings covered in thick fur. But it was the figure at the center that drew Sarah's attention. The alien was humanoid, with piercing silver eyes and skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. It stepped forward, raising a hand in what Sarah recognized as a universal gesture of peace. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice resonating with a musical quality. "I am Zarthon, High Counselor of the Zarthian Alliance. We welcome you to the galactic community." Sarah returned the gesture, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "On behalf of Earth and all of humanity, we are honored to make your acquaintance, High Counselor." As they were led into the council chambers, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The aliens, despite their warm welcome, seemed tense. Worried glances were exchanged, and hushed conversations in alien languages filled the air. It wasn't until they were seated in the grand circular chamber that Zarthon addressed the elephant in the room. "Admiral Chen, while we are truly pleased to welcome humanity to our alliance, I'm afraid our meeting comes at a dire time. Our civilization faces a threat unlike any we have encountered in our long history." The chamber darkened, and a holographic display flickered to life in the center. Sarah's blood ran cold as she saw the image of a creature so terrifying that it seemed to have crawled out of humanity's worst nightmares. "This," Zarthon said, his voice heavy, "is the Vorcari, a species so aggressive, so untamable, that it threatens the very fabric of galactic peace. They appeared on the fringes of our territory a decade ago, and since then they have laid waste to dozens of worlds." The hologram shifted, showing scenes of destruction that made Sarah's stomach churn. Entire cities reduced to rubble, alien bodies strewn across battlefields, fleets of advanced starships being torn apart like paper. "We have tried everything." Another counselor spoke up, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly in distress. "Our most advanced weapons, our strongest defenses, even attempts at communication. Nothing has worked. The Vorcari seem to exist only to destroy." Sarah leaned forward, her tactical mind already racing. "Have you tried to understand their motivations, their biology? There must be some reason for their actions." The council exchanged glances, and Sarah sensed a mixture of surprise and was that hope. Zarthon nodded slowly. "We have attempted to study them, yes, but the Vorcari's physiology defies our understanding. They seem to be part biological, part energy beings. Our scientists theorize that they feed on the very essence of life itself, but we cannot get close enough to confirm this without suffering catastrophic losses." Sarah's mind whirled with the implications. A species that fed on life itself. It sounded impossible, and yet here they were, facing an enemy that seemed unstoppable. "High Counselor," Sarah said, her voice firm, "I understand that we are new to your alliance, but Earth has faced its share of challenges. We may be able to offer a fresh perspective on this threat." The chamber fell silent, all eyes turning to her. Zarthon studied her for a long moment before speaking. "Admiral Chen, we invited humanity to join us because we sensed something unique in your species, a resilience, and adaptability that we have rarely encountered. But I must warn you, the Vorcari have defeated races far more technologically advanced than yours. Sarah stood, her posture straight and determined. With all due respect, High Counselor, technological advancement isn't everything. Humanity has a long history of overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds. We call it human ingenuity, and it's gotten us out of more than a few tight spots. A murmur ran through the chamber, a mix of skepticism and curiosity. Sarah pressed on. Give us a chance to study the Vorcari, to bring our unique perspective to this fight. We may surprise you. Zarthon conferred quietly with the other counselors for a moment before turning back to Sarah. Very well, Admiral Chen. We will provide you with all the data we have on the Vorcari. But be warned, time is not on our side. The Vorcari are advancing, and if we cannot find a way to stop them soon, there may not be a galaxy left to save. As Sarah left the council chambers, her mind was already racing with possibilities. She tapped her communicator, Chen to Horizon. Prepare for an urgent transmission to Earth. We're going to need our best and brightest on this one. The fate of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy now rested on their shoulders. It was time to show the universe what humans were truly capable of. The human approach. 3 months had passed since humanity's first contact with the Zarthian Alliance, and the Galactic Council Station was now a hive of activity. The UES Horizon had been joined by a small fleet of Earth's most advanced ships, each carrying a cadre of humanity's finest minds. Scientists, strategists, and soldiers, all united in their determination to tackle the Vorcari threat. Dr. Amelia Zhao stood at the viewport of her makeshift lab, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling nebula beyond. Behind her, holographic displays flickered with data streams and simulations, the fruits of months of intense study and collaboration. Dr. Zhao, a voice called, pulling her from her thoughts. She turned to see Captain Jack Harper, his rugged features set in a grim expression. The council's called an emergency meeting. Looks like the Vorcari have made another push into Allied space. Amelia nodded, gathering her data pads. As they hurried through the station's corridors, she couldn't help but notice the looks they received from the alien inhabitants. Some were curious, others skeptical, and a few. Was that hope she saw in their eyes? The council chamber was tense when they arrived. Admiral Chen was already there, engaged in a heated discussion with Zarthon and several other counselors. Cannot afford to wait any longer, one of the alien delegates was saying, his tentacles writhing in agitation. The Krell system has fallen. Millions are dead or fleeing. We must strike now with everything we have. And what good will that do? Admiral Chen countered, her voice firm. You've tried brute force before. It didn't work then, and it won't work now. We need more time to understand. Time. Another counselor scoffed. Time is a luxury we no longer have, human. Your species promised us a solution, yet all we've seen are more delays and abstract theories. Amelia stepped forward, her heart pounding, but her voice steady. Counselors, if I may, we've made significant progress in understanding the Vorcari. If you'll allow me to present our findings. Zarthon raised a hand, silencing the chamber. Proceed, Dr. Zhao. Let us hear what humanity has discovered. Amelia activated her holoprojector, filling the air with complex diagrams and data streams. Our analysis of the Vorcari biology has revealed something extraordinary. They're not simply consuming life energy as previously thought. They're transforming it. A murmur ran through the chamber as Amelia continued. The Vorcari appear to be in a constant state of quantum flux. They exist simultaneously in our dimension and another that we're still trying to understand. This is why conventional weapons have little effect. They're not fully here when we attack. Fascinating, Zarthon mused. But how does this help us defeat them? That's just it, Amelia said, her eyes shining with excitement. I don't think we should be trying to defeat them at all. I think we should be trying to communicate with them. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, most expressing disbelief or outright dismissal of the idea. "Communicate," one of the counselors bellowed. "These beasts have laid waste to entire worlds. They've shown no interest in diplomacy or reason." "Because we haven't been speaking their language," Amelia pressed on. "The Vorcari don't perceive reality the way we do. Their actions, destructive as they are to us, might be something entirely different from their perspective." Admiral Chen stepped in, her voice cutting through the noise. "What Dr. Zhao is proposing is radical, I know. But consider this, in all our battles with the Vorcari, have we ever truly understood what we were fighting? Or why?" The chamber fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Zarthon leaned forward, his silver eyes fixed on Amelia. "You believe you can communicate with these beings?" Amelia took a deep breath. "We've developed a device that we believe can generate quantum signals on the same frequency as the Vorcari's energy patterns. In theory, it should allow us to speak their language, so to speak." "In theory," another counselor scoffed. "And what if this theory is wrong? What if instead of communicating, you simply attract more of these monsters to our doorstep?" "That's a risk we'll have to take," Captain Harper spoke up, his voice gruff but determined. "Look, I'm a soldier. My first instinct is to fight. But I've seen enough war to know that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to try and understand your enemy." Admiral Chen nodded. "We're not asking to abandon our defenses, but give us a chance to try this approach. If it fails, we'll join your fleet on the front lines ourselves." The council chamber buzzed with tense discussions. Finally, Zarthon raised his hand for silence. "This is unprecedented," he said slowly. "But then again, so is the threat we face. Very well, humanity. You shall have your chance." As the meeting adjourned, Amelia felt a mix of relief and apprehension wash over her. They had their shot, but now came the hard part, putting theory into practice. "Well, Doc," Captain Harper said as they left the chamber, "looks like we're about to make first contact all over again. Any idea what we say to a race of interdimensional energy beings?" Amelia managed a small smile. "I was thinking we'd start with hello and work our way up from there." As they walked back to the lab, Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. Whether it would be a breakthrough or a catastrophe remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: humanity was about to show the galaxy what it was truly capable of. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. The UES Horizon was retrofitted with Amelia's experimental quantum signaling device, a marvel of human ingenuity and alien technology working in harmony. The ship's crew, a mix of Earth's finest and a contingent of alien observers, prepared for a mission that would either change the course of the war or end in disaster. As the Horizon prepared to depart, Admiral Chen addressed the crew. "What we're about to attempt has never been done before. We're not just representing Earth out there, but the hopes of countless civilizations across the galaxy. Remember your training, trust in each other, and no matter what happens, show them what humanity is made of." With a final salute, the crew took their positions. The Horizon's engines flared to life, propelling them towards the unknown and into the annals of galactic history. Unraveling the Vorcari mystery, the UES Horizon hung in space at the edge of the Krell system, its sleek form a stark contrast to the devastation that surrounded it. Debris from destroyed ships and shattered planets drifted silently by, a grim reminder of the Vorcari's destructive power. On the bridge, Captain Jack Harper stood rigid, his eyes fixed on the main view screen. "Any sign of them, Lieutenant?" "Negative, sir," the sensor officer replied, her voice tense. "But these energy readings, they're off the charts. If Dr. Zhao's theories are correct, we're definitely in the right place." As if on cue, Dr. Amelia Zhao's voice came over the intercom. "Bridge, this is Zhao. The quantum signaler is ready. We can begin transmission at your command." Captain Harper exchanged a glance with Admiral Chen, who nodded grimly. "This is it, people," Harper announced. "Remember your training. We're making history today, one way or another. With a deep breath, he gave the order. Dr. Zhao, begin transmission. In the makeshift lab that had been set up in the Horizon's cargo bay, Amelia's fingers flew over the controls of the quantum signaler. The device hummed to life, emitting pulses of energy that were invisible to the naked eye, but lit up her instruments like a supernova. Transmission initiated, she reported, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Now we wait. The minutes ticked by, each feeling like an eternity. The crew of the Horizon held their breath, every sensor trained on the space around them, searching for any sign of a response. Suddenly, alarms blared across the ship. Multiple contacts. The sensor officer shouted, "Vorcari signatures, closing fast." "Battle stations," Harper ordered, but Admiral Chen held up a hand. "Hold your fire," she commanded. "Let's see what they do." The view screen lit up as the Vorcari appeared. They were just as terrifying as the reports had described. Massive, shape-shifting creatures that seemed to be made of pure energy and malevolence. They surrounded the Horizon, their forms pulsing and writhing in patterns that hurt the eyes to look at. But they didn't attack. They're responding to the signal. Amelia's voice came over the comm, filled with a mixture of awe and excitement. The patterns in their energy field, they match our transmission exactly. For several tense moments, the Vorcari and the Horizon hung in space, engaged in a silent dialogue of quantum pulses. Then, without warning, the aliens vanished. Where did they go? Harper demanded. Before anyone could respond, a blinding flash filled the bridge. When it faded, a single Vorcari stood, or rather, floated, in the center of the room. But this one was different. Smaller, more defined. Almost comprehensible. Admiral Chen stepped forward, her hand outstretched in a gesture of peace. "We welcome you," she said, her voice calm despite the extraordinary situation. The Vorcari's form shimmered. And then, to everyone's shock, it spoke. The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, resonating in their minds rather than their ears. "You speak," it said, the words halting and alien. "First, to speak. Why?" Amelia stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. "We wanted to understand you," she said, "to know why you've been attacking our worlds." The Vorcari's form pulsed rapidly, a cascade of colors flowing through it. Attack. No attack. Feed. Grow. Cycle of existence. Understanding dawned on Amelia's face. "You're not attacking," she breathed. "You're terraforming, transforming matter and energy to suit your needs." "Yes," the Vorcari confirmed. "Transform. Ascend. Purpose." Admiral Chen frowned. "But you've destroyed entire civilizations in the process. Billions have died." The Vorcari's form flickered, a gesture that might have been confusion. "Death? No comprehend. Energy transforms. Consciousness ascends. No end." The implications of the Vorcari's words hit the crew like a shockwave. These beings didn't perceive death the way other species did. To them, the destruction of planets and the loss of life was simply part of a greater cosmic cycle. "We need to show them," Amelia said urgently. "Help them understand what their actions mean to us." Over the next several hours, humans and Vorcari engaged in a crash course of cultural exchange. The crew of the Horizon used every tool at their disposal, images, data, even music and art, to convey the concept of individual life and the trauma of death. In return, the Vorcari shared glimpses of their existence, a multidimensional perception of reality that strained the limits of human comprehension. They existed in a state of constant flux, transforming energy and matter as easily as humans breathed air. As understanding grew on both sides, a palpable sense of horror seemed to emanate from the Vorcari. Harm, not intended, it communicated. Ignorance, great failing. Admiral Chen seized the moment. "Then let us work together," she proposed. Find a way for both our species to coexist, to grow and transform without destruction. The Vorcari's form pulsed rapidly, colors swirling in complex patterns. Agree, it finally responded. New understanding. New path. As the Vorcari prepared to depart, to communicate this new understanding to the rest of its kind, it turned to Amelia. Gratitude, it said. Humans, unique. See beyond. Understand beyond. Valuable. With another flash of light, the Vorcari vanished, leaving the crew of the Horizon to grapple with the monumental implications of what had just occurred. Well, Captain Harper said, breaking the stunned silence, I think we can safely say the mission was a success. Admiral Chen nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. More than that, Captain. We've just changed the course of galactic history. As the Horizon set course back to the Galactic Council station, Amelia found herself staring out at the stars, her mind reeling. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had found a way to communicate with the Vorcari, to understand them, and in doing so, had potentially saved countless lives across the galaxy. But she knew this was just the beginning. The real work, finding a way for such vastly different species to coexist, was yet to come. It would be challenging, perhaps the greatest challenge humanity had ever faced. But as she looked around at her crewmates, saw the determination in their eyes and the pride in their bearing, Amelia knew one thing for certain. If any species was up to the task, it was humanity. The stars streaked by as the Horizon raced towards home, carrying with it the promise of a new era for the galaxy, an era of understanding, cooperation, and hope. The Vorcari offensive. The Galactic Council chamber was in an uproar. Holograms flickered across the room, showing scenes of chaos and destruction as the Vorcari continued their relentless advance. Despite the breakthrough in communication, not all of the enigmatic beings had received or accepted the message of peace. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the center of the storm, her voice raised to be heard over the cacophony of panicked alien delegates. We need more time. The Vorcari we contacted are trying to spread the message to their kind, but it's a slow process. If we can hold them off just a little longer. Time is a luxury we no longer have. Human. A reptilian counselor hissed, slamming a clawed fist on the table. While you preach patience, our worlds burn. Zarthon, the High Counselor, raised his hands for silence. Admiral Chen, we appreciate what you and your team have accomplished, but the fact remains that the Vorcari offensive continues. We must take action. Chen's jaw tightened. She knew what was coming next. The combined fleets of the Alliance are preparing for a final decisive battle. Zarthon continued. We will meet the Vorcari at the Nexus system and end this threat once and for all. You can't. Dr. Amelia Zhou burst out, stepping forward. If you do this, you'll undo everything we've worked for. You'll prove to the Vorcari that coexistence is impossible. The chamber fell silent, all eyes turning to the human scientist. Amelia swallowed hard but stood her ground. We have a plan, she said. A way to amplify our quantum signaler to reach all the Vorcari at once. But we need to get close. Closer than we've ever been before. Captain Jack Harper stepped up beside her. What the doc is trying to say is, we're volunteering for a suicide mission. We'll take the Horizon right into the heart of the Vorcari fleet. If it works, we end this war without further bloodshed. If it doesn't, he shrugged. Well, you'll still have your big battle, just with one less ship. The counselors murmured among themselves, a mix of skepticism and grudging admiration in their voices. Finally, Zarthon spoke. And what of the rest of humanity? Do they support this audacious plan? Admiral Chen straightened, her voice firm. Earth stands behind us. They understand the risks and the potential rewards. This is humanity's chance to prove our worth to the galactic community. We don't intend to waste it. After what felt like an eternity, Zarthon nodded. Very well. You have your chance, humans. But know this, if your plan fails, if the Vorcari break through our lines, Countless more will die. That blood will be on your hands." As they left the council chamber, Harper let out a low whistle. "No pressure, right?" Amelia managed a weak smile. Just another day at the office. The next few hours were a blur of activity. The Horizon's engines were pushed to their limits, the quantum signaler modified far beyond its original specs. Every member of the crew worked with grim determination, knowing that the fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders. As they prepared to depart, Admiral Chen addressed the crew one last time. "What we're about to attempt goes beyond bravery. It's the kind of action that defines a species. Win or lose, you've already made humanity proud. Now let's go make some history." The Horizon streaked through space, racing to reach the Nexus system before the Alliance fleet arrived. As they dropped out of FTL, the sight that greeted them stole the breath from their lungs. The Vorcari were there in numbers beyond counting. Their massive, energy-wreathed forms filled the space around a dying star, feeding off its death throes. It was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. "My God," Harper breathed. "How are we supposed to reach them all?" Amelia's fingers flew over her console. "We'll use the star," she said, her voice tight with concentration. "Its gravitational field should amplify our signal. But we'll have to get close, dangerously close." Harper nodded grimly. "Helm, take us in. Nice and easy." The Horizon glided forward, a minnow swimming into a school of leviathans. For a moment, it seemed the Vorcari hadn't noticed them. Then, as one, they turned. "They've spotted us," the tactical officer reported, her voice shaking. They're not attacking. They're watching." "Now, Dr. Zhao," Chen ordered, "give it everything we've got." Amelia activated the quantum signaler, channeling every ounce of power the ship could muster. The device screamed in protest, components melting under the strain. On the view screen, waves of energy pulsed outward, carried by the star's gravitational field to wash over the assembled Vorcari. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the space around them exploded into light and motion. The Vorcari writhed and pulsed, their forms shifting rapidly. Streams of energy flowed between them, a silent conversation happening on a scale humans could barely comprehend. "It's working," Amelia whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. "They're listening." But their victory was short-lived. Alarms blared across the bridge as the tactical officer shouted, "Alliance fleet dropping out of FTL. They're charging weapons." Chen's blood ran cold. "No," she breathed. "Not now. Not when we're so close." The Alliance ships opened fire, their weapons blazing across space towards the Vorcari. Time seemed to slow as Chen watched, helpless, knowing that all their work was about to be undone in a hail of destruction. But the shots never landed. A shimmering barrier sprang into existence, absorbing the Alliance's fire harmlessly. The Vorcari moved as one, forming a protective sphere around the Horizon. "They're protecting us," Harper said in disbelief. Amelia's console beeped urgently. "We're receiving a transmission," she reported. It's from the Vorcari. All of them." The bridge crew held their breath as a familiar yet alien voice filled the air. "Understood. At last. Harm, not intended. Coexistence, possible. Grateful, to humans. Show us the way." As the enormity of what had just happened sank in, Chen felt a weight lift from her shoulders. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had found a way to bridge the gap between species so alien they had seemed incomprehensible. But as she looked out at the assembled fleets, Vorcari on one side, Alliance on the other, she knew their work was far from over. The real challenge lay ahead, forging a lasting peace between worlds that had known only war. With a deep breath, she opened a channel to both fleets. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth. Let's talk." The stars twinkled silently, bearing witness to a moment that would change the course of galactic history forever. Triumph of human ingenuity. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council Station buzzed with an energy unlike anything it had ever known. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had gathered, their eyes fixed on the unlikely group at the center of the room. A handful of humans standing shoulder to shoulder with the shimmering, ethereal forms of the Vorcari. Admiral Sarah Chen took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. Beside her, Dr. Amelia Zhao fidgeted nervously with her data pad, while Captain Jack Harper stood at parade rest, his face a mask of calm determination. High Counselor Zarthon stepped forward, raising his hands for silence. The din in the hall faded to a hush. Esteemed delegates, Zarthon began, his melodious voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. We stand at a crossroads in galactic history. For years, we have fought a war we believed was for our very survival. But today, thanks to the ingenuity and courage of our human allies, we have discovered a truth that will forever change our understanding of the universe and our place in it. He gestured to the Vorcari. These beings, whom we once saw only as destroyers, are in fact creators. Their actions, devastating as they seem to us, were born not of malice, but of a fundamental difference in how we perceive reality itself. A murmur ran through the crowd. Zarthon continued, "It took the unique perspective of humanity, a species so young in galactic terms that many doubted their readiness to join our alliance, to bridge this gap in understanding. They have shown us that even in the face of incomprehensible difference, communication and coexistence are possible." Admiral Chen stepped forward. "What we've achieved here is only the beginning," she said, her voice clear and confident. "The Vorcari have agreed to halt their transformation of inhabited systems. In return, we will work together to find uninhabited areas of space where they can continue their natural cycle without harming sentient life." Dr. Zhao took over, her initial nervousness fading as she slipped into lecture mode. Moreover, the Vorcari have agreed to share their unique insights into the nature of energy and matter. Their understanding of the universe is far beyond our own, and the potential advancements in science and technology are, well, they're beyond anything we can currently imagine. The hall erupted in excited chatter. The implications were staggering. An end to energy shortages, revolutionary advances in space travel, perhaps even the key to immortality itself. But not everyone was convinced. A grizzled Krex warrior pushed his way to the front. "Pretty words," he growled. "But how can we trust these Vorcari? How do we know this isn't some trick to lower our defenses?" Before Chen could respond, one of the Vorcari floated forward. Its form shimmered and pulsed, and when it spoke, its words resonated directly in the minds of all present. "Trust, earned through action," it communicated. "Humans showed us the way. Now we follow. Destruction, not our purpose. Creation, transformation, ascension. These we offer freely, to all." The Krex warrior stepped back, visibly shaken by the direct mental contact. Captain Harper seized the moment. "Look," he said, his gruff voice cutting through the tension. "I get it. I'm a soldier. My first instinct is to see threats everywhere. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to take a chance on peace." He gestured around the room. "Every species here has something unique to offer. The Vorcari just happen to be a little more unique than most. But that's the point, isn't it? We're stronger together, different perspectives, different abilities, all working towards a common goal." Slowly, heads began to nod. The mood in the chamber shifted, fear and suspicion giving way to cautious optimism. Zarthon raised his hands once more. "Then let it be known," he declared, "that from this day forward, the Vorcari are welcomed as friends and allies, and let the records show that it was humanity who made this possible. In recognition of their service to the galaxy, Earth is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Alliance, with all rights and responsibilities thereof." The chamber erupted in cheers and applause. As Chen looked around at the celebratory faces, human, alien, and Vorcari alike, she felt a swell of pride unlike anything she had ever known. In the days that followed, The galaxy saw changes at a pace that would have been unimaginable just weeks before. Vorcari insights revolutionized everything from energy production to medicine. The quantum communication techniques developed by Dr. Zhao and her team laid the groundwork for a new era of faster-than-light communication. But perhaps most importantly, the spirit of cooperation that had been born in that moment of crisis continued to grow. Species that had been bitter enemies for generations now worked side by side, united in their efforts to build a better future for all. As for the crew of the UES Horizon, they found themselves hailed as heroes across the galaxy. But for Chen, Harper, Zhao, and the others, the greatest reward was the knowledge that they had played a part in reshaping the very fabric of galactic society. One evening, as they stood on the observation deck of the Galactic Council Station, watching ships of all shapes and sizes come and go, Amelia turned to Sarah with a smile. "You know," she said, "when I was a little girl dreaming of the stars, I never imagined anything like this." Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the cosmic dance before them. "That's the thing about humanity, isn't it? We're always pushing boundaries, always looking for new challenges. And now we've got a whole galaxy of them to tackle." As if on cue, a Vorcari ship shimmered into view, its ethereal form a stark contrast to the solid metal of the other vessels. It pulsed once in greeting before continuing on its way. "Well," Jack said with a grin, "I'd say we've made one hell of a first impression on the galaxy. What do you think we should do for an encore?" Sarah laughed, throwing an arm around her friend's shoulders. "I don't know," she said, her eyes twinkling with the light of distant stars and new possibilities. "But I can't wait to find out." As they stood there, three humans among the vast tapestry of galactic life, they knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had taken its first true steps into a larger universe, and the adventures that lay ahead were limited only by the bounds of their imagination. The stars beckoned, full of mystery and promise. And humanity, in all its resourceful, adaptable, indomitable spirit, was ready to answer the call.